India is going all in on artificial intelligence. I mean, they're aiming to be a global powerhouse. The government has laid out these massive, really ambitious plans to build a whole AI ecosystem right from scratch. But, behind the big headlines and the huge budgets, the reality is a lot more complicated, filled with some serious structural challenges. So let's get into it and really explore that gap between India's AI ambition and what's actually happening on the ground.
First things first, why is this such a big deal? Well, it all comes down to the numbers, and the economic stakes here are just staggering. We're talking about projections that show generative AI alone could add up to $1.5 trillion to India's GDP by 2030. That's a number that can completely reshape an economy, and it's the engine driving this entire national push. So, with that kind of prize on the table, it raises the central question for this whole explainer. Are the country's policies, its infrastructure, and its institutions actually ready to handle this? Are they prepared to capture this massive opportunity? Or is there a real risk of being left in the dust? To really get a handle on where India is trying to go, you have to start with the official strategy. And let's be clear, this isn't just some casual experiment. We're talking about a deliberate, top-down government mission to build a complete AI ecosystem, owned and operated right there within its own borders. Now, this quote, this right here, really gets to the heart of the entire philosophy. It's from the India AI mission, and it perfectly captures their two main goals. First, making AI in India. That's about developing world-class AI tech at home. And second, making AI work for India. That's all about using that tech to solve the country's own unique challenges. So it's a vision that's both patriotic and at the same time focused on social development. And all of this is built into their flagship program, the India AI mission. As you can see, it's not just one thing, it's a whole strategy built on 5 pillars. It kicks off with the raw power, getting over 38,000 GPUs out there at subsidized rates. Then you need the fuel for the AI, right? So they're creating national data platforms. They're also pumping money into startups, launching massive skilling programs for the workforce, and finally, trying to build a framework for safe and ethical AI. It's really designed to be an end-to-end system. And check this out. This shows you the sheer scale of just one of those pillars, skilling. We're not talking about just one course. It's a huge, layered approach. They're targeting everyone, from middle school kids with the SOAR initiative, all the way to IT pros with Future Skills Prime. They even have a program, Yuva AI for All, that's aiming to reach 10 million regular citizens. The goal here is to make the entire country AI literate. So the ambition is clearly there, and it's huge. But here's the thing. AI isn't being developed in a vacuum. To really understand India's game plan, we've got to put it in context. We need to look at the global AI race, this giant chessboard where all the major players are making their moves. Right now, the AI world is pretty much dominated by 2 competing models. In one corner, you've got the United States. Their strategy is all about private sector innovation. Think big tech giants. The focus is on moving fast, less regulation, and ultimately getting the whole world to use the American tech stack. In the other corner, you have China. It's a totally state-led, security-first model, fueled by massive government investment. Their goal? To export their own complete tech stack, especially to countries in the global south. So where does India fit into all this? Well, it's trying to carve out its own path, a kind of third way. They're calling it enable, then regulate. The whole idea is to first build the foundation, the compute power, the data access, and just let innovation run wild. This is actually the exact same playbook they used for their super successful digital public infrastructure, which powers things like their national ID and payment systems. The plan is to do that all over again, but for AI. On paper, it's a pretty powerful and unique strategy. But this is where we get to the critical part. Is it working? Are these grand plans and big announcements actually translating into real-world results? And this is where we pivot from the ambition to the reality. Because despite all these impressive plans, analysts are pointing to some pretty big cracks in the foundation. Fundamental challenges that could really threaten India's entire AI dream. Okay, the first major hurdle is what's called the compute gap. Look, giving out subsidized GPUs is a fantastic start, but it's only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The country is facing a real shortage of the deep infrastructure needed, things like energy-efficient data centers and high-performance computing facilities, all of which need a stable, sustainable power grid to run. Without that physical backbone, you just can't train and deploy the most advanced AI models at a national scale. It's that simple. The second big issue is all about data. Now, India has launched several open data platforms, which is great in theory.
The problem is, the data itself is still fragmented, locked away in different government and institutional silos. There's no real standardization, so it's super hard to get different data sets to talk to each other. And maybe most importantly, a lot of people, especially the startups who need this data the most, don't even know these platforms exist. And finally, there's the talent gap. Yeah, India produces a massive number of IT graduates every year, but there's a serious shortage at the very top. We're talking about advanced AI researchers. The country produces fewer than 500 AI-related PhDs a year, which is just dwarfed by its competitors. Plus, there's the persistent brain drain problem, where top talent leaves. And while those big skilling programs look great, they're reportedly suffering from uneven rollouts and low completion rates. As one report put it, the pipeline for advanced research is basically dry. Okay, so when you put it all together, the incredible ambitions on one side, and these deep-seated, very real challenges on the other, we can finally get to our central question. Is India's approach to AI proactive, or is it reactive? Well, the answer seems to be a tale of two different speeds. In its ambition, the government has been incredibly proactive. I mean, they had a national AI strategy way back in 2018. They've built this huge comprehensive mission with clear goals to be a global leader. But when you look at the execution, the approach feels much more reactive. They're constantly playing catch-up, trying to fix the gaps in compute and data, the skilling programs are siloed, and that advanced research pipeline is seriously lagging. So the vision is proactive, but the implementation feels reactive. And all of this leads us to one final, much, much bigger question. One that goes way beyond just India and really speaks to a challenge that every government on the planet is facing in this new era of technology. When you boil it all down, India's story is the perfect case study for this ultimate modern problem. Can governance, which moves at a slow, linear, deliberate pace, ever really keep up with technology that's changing at an exponential speed? As AI just gets faster and faster, that question is probably going to be what defines the winners and the losers of the 21st century.
So, in the end, the real question is not whether AI will come to India. AI is already here. The real question is India ready? Making announcement is easy. Building skills is hard. Creating policies is easy. Executing them on the ground is harder. Today, America is moving fast. China is investing heavily. And India stands at a critical turning point. We have talent, we have scale, but now we need vision and execution. Because in the age of AI, population alone is not enough.